My fiancée, get this, wanted a piece of my business for her parents. When I said no way, she gave me the old weddings off ultimatum, so I beat her to the punch. I'm 33 and I'm seriously proud of what I've built. My tech consulting firm isn't some giant like Google or Amazon, but it's mine. I started it from scratch, no help from anyone, no trust fund, no lucky breaks. Just me, my laptop, and a whole lot of sleepless nights. I gave up a ton to make it happen. Forget vacations, ramen dinners were a regular thing because takeout was a luxury I couldn't afford, and work-life balance. Yeah, that went out the window. So yeah, this company is really important to me. I met Jenna, she was 29 about a year ago. At first, she seemed perfect. Driven, sure of herself, and she just had this amazing way about her, everyone loved her. She was so polished, so graceful, so much better at socializing than I'll ever be. Things were great when we started dating. For a while, I actually thought I'd found someone who got my grind. After a year, we got engaged. It was a simple proposal, a nice dinner, a quiet moment, and when she said yes, I felt like I was on top of the world. I'm not exactly Mr. Wedding Planner, but Jenna was all over it. The venue, the dresses, the food, she handled everything. I just went along with it all, or so I thought. So we're sitting at the kitchen table 3 months before the wedding. It was a regular night, you know? Jenna's got her laptop open, scrolling through Pinterest wedding flowers, I guess. I'm sipping my coffee, pretending to care about the difference between peonies and roses. Then, bam, she hits me with it. Babe, she says, all sweet and innocent, but I could tell she wanted something. We need to talk about my parents. I was like, okay, what's up with them? She flashes this cute grin and says, real casual like, don't you think we should do something extra special to show them how much we appreciate everything they've done? I'm thinking, didn't we just take them to Napa for that weekend? And I got your dad that fancy watch he's been drooling over. What more could she possibly want? She closes her laptop and leans in like she's about to drop some major bombshell. I was thinking, she says, maybe you could give them a piece of your company. I swear I almost choked on my coffee. Wait, what? I asked, completely stunned. A small piece, she says, like that made it any better. Just a little something to show our gratitude. They've always wanted to be involved in something big, she explained, and this would mean the world to them. I just stared at her, trying to process how crazy this was. You want me to give your parents a share of my company? As a gift? She nods, smiling like it was the most normal thing in the world. Yeah, she said. It's a way to show trust and respect. They've done so much for me, and this would show you appreciate them too. I was stunned. I actually laughed like, is she kidding me? I told her, Jenna, I built this entire company myself from the ground up. Your parents weren't involved at all. Why on earth would I give them a piece of it? Her smile faded, and she gave me this look like I was being totally unreasonable. She said, because they're family. My family's gonna be your family. This isn't just business, Aaron. It's about building relationships and showing you care about them. The coffee I was drinking suddenly didn't matter. I was wide awake. Jenna, I said, I don't think you get how businesses operate. Giving someone ownership in my company isn't some small thing. It's not like handing out candy at a birthday party. This is how I make a living. She sighed like I was being stubborn. You're making a big deal out of this. It's just a gesture. They're not going to try and run the place. I rubbed my temples, trying to keep calm. Jenna, this isn't a gesture. It's a legal contract. Your parents didn't lift a finger to help build this. They didn't invest a dime. There's no reason for me to just give them a part of it. Then her voice got sharp. Because they're my parents, Aaron. I wouldn't even be here without them. Don't you think they deserve something for that? I was floored. They deserve respect, absolutely, but respect doesn't mean handing over something I busted my butt to create. The conversation ended there for the night anyway. But lying in bed later, staring up at the ceiling, I had this awful feeling that this was just the beginning of a much bigger problem. Jenna's ask. Totally out there and honestly a little entitled. Looking back, I should have seen it coming a mile away. She'd always been a bit much, you know? Grew up comfy, never really had to worry about where things came from. I always figured it was harmless, but now? It felt like she was trying to use my business my whole life, really to get what she wanted. The next day, I woke up hoping she'd forgotten all about it. Maybe it was just a moment of craziness, a bad judgment call. People say dumb stuff when they're stressed, right? I figured she'd realize how ridiculous it was and we'd move on. Couldn't have been more wrong. That morning, I made coffee like normal, and for a sec, everything felt okay. She kissed my cheek, said thanks, and started scrolling on her phone while I checked emails. I actually thought I'd overblown the whole thing. Maybe she'd drop it, but bam, there it was again. Babe, she said, putting down her phone, I've been thinking about what we talked about last night. My gut dropped. There was only one what we talked about last night. Jenna, I said, already worn out, we don't need to go over this again. I thought we were done with that. She gave me that smile, the one she uses to get me to agree to those crazy expensive brunches. Honestly, I don't think you're getting it. It's not about money or power at all. This is about proving to my folks that you care about them as much as I do. I shut my laptop, knowing there was no way out of this talk. Look, Jenna, I think your parents are great, I really do. But giving them a piece of my company, that's not some grand gesture. That's a legal and financial disaster waiting to happen. I leaned back in my chair, trying to stay calm. Once someone owns part of a business, it's theirs, plain and simple. It doesn't matter if they do anything with it. And no offense, but your parents don't know the first thing about running a tech company. She just brushed it off. They don't have to know anything. It's not about them running anything. It's about them feeling loved. I just stared at her, trying to figure out if she was for real. And she totally was. The whole conversation just kept playing on repeat in my head all day long. I couldn't focus at work because I kept thinking, is this what my life is going to be from now on? Just constant guilt trips over ridiculous requests. Things got even worse that night. We were on the couch watching TV, and then she turns to me and says, you know, if my parents had a stake in the company, it could really help you too. I hit pause on the remote. What are you even talking about now? They know a lot of people, she said, flipping her hair like she was offering me some kind of business deal. My dad knows a ton of people in real estate, and Mom's involved in a few women's entrepreneur groups. They could help us get more clients, she insisted. I rubbed my temples. Jenna, my business doesn't need your parents' help. But think about the possibilities, she countered, her voice getting all hyped up. With their connections, you could grow quicker. This isn't just for them, it's for us, for our future. Oh, great, she'd switched gears. Now it wasn't just about making her parents happy. It was all about our future. Jenna, I sighed, if this is about our future, you should be backing the business I already built, not trying to give parts of it to your folks. She frowned, clearly not thrilled with the direction this was going. I am supporting you, I just think you're being narrow-minded. My parents are stoked about the wedding, and this would make them feel like they're part of something. It wasn't exciting. It was straight-up entitlement. But I didn't want to blow up at her, not yet. Look, I said, I get that your parents mean a lot to you, but this is overstepping. Her glare got worse, and for the first time I saw something in her eyes that made me uneasy. She wasn't just upset, she was scheming. The next day, things took a weird turn. Jenna apparently decided to bring in reinforcements. Her mom called me while I was at work. Hi, Aaron, her mom chirped, and the fake sweetness instantly made me uneasy. I just wanted to say thanks for being so considerate and including us in the business thing. I was practically stunned. Jenna mentioned your idea and we're just so touched. Excuse me, I stammered. Don't be shy, she added, chuckling. Jenna told us you're thinking about giving us a part of your company as a wedding present. It's such a nice thing to do. You're basically family already. I was completely floored and couldn't even speak for a moment. Finally, I blurted out, I think there's been a mistake. I never agreed to any of that. Her voice immediately shifted. Oh, well, that's not what Jenna said, I responded confidently. Well, Jenna and I haven't exactly come to an agreement on this. Honestly, I'm not comfortable with it. Her mother paused for a beat before saying, I see. Well, I hope you'll think about it. It would mean a lot to us. I hung up, my blood boiling. Jenna had gone behind my back and sold her parents on something I'd clearly said no to. When I got home that night, I cornered her. Why did your mom call me about the business? Jenna didn't even look sorry. I just thought it would help if you understood how much this could mean to them. Sometimes people need a little push, you know. A little push. I exploded. You made it sound like I'd already agreed to this. She folded her arms and her voice got all defensive. You're making a big deal out of nothing. I was just trying to get everyone on the same page, you know. The same page? I practically yelled, my voice getting higher. Jenna, this isn't some group assignment. This is my business, my work. And you have no business promising anything about it to anyone, especially not your parents. I saw a flash of anger in her eyes for the first time. If you can't do this one thing for me and my family, she said, maybe you don't really care about us as much as you say you do. I just stared at her, totally stunned. Was she actually trying to make me feel guilty about this? You know what, Jenna? I finally said. If this is how you're going to be, maybe we need to reevaluate things. I bolted out of the room before she could even say anything, my head spinning. I had no clue where this was going, but one thing was crystal clear. Jenna wasn't going to budge. And neither was I. I thought Jenna's nonsense had already reached its peak, but boy, was I wrong. That was just the beginning. What happened next took things from annoying to straight-up poisonous. The next morning, I called my best friend, Dave. If anyone could give me the real deal, it was him. When I told him what was going on, he let out a long whistle. Dude, this is bad, he said. Like run away as fast as you can bad. Yeah, tell me about it, I said. Let me get this straight, he said. She's basically blackmailing you to give her parents part of your business? Basically, I replied. And she doesn't see what's wrong with that. Nope, Dave laughed, more out of disbelief than anything else. Man, I don't even know what to tell you. This is crazy, totally insane. If she acts this bossy now, just imagine what married life would be like. Seriously, am I sure I want to do this? That's what it boiled down to, right? And for the first time, I had no clue what to say. Then that night, Jenna laid down the law. We were barely talking in the living room when bam, she asks, "So, what you decide?" "Decide what?" I asked her. I knew what she meant, of course, about the shares. She just blurted out, "Are you gonna do it or not?" I looked right at her. "No, Jenna, I'm not." She leaned back, arms crossed. "Then maybe this whole thing isn't gonna work." I just stared at her for a minute, wondering if she was messing with me, but she looked serious. "Maybe it isn't," I finally said. Her eyes went wide, like she hadn't expected me to call her bluff. "You're really gonna throw everything away over this?" "I could ask you the same thing," I shot back. "You're the one making these crazy demands and threatening to leave if you don't get your way. What kind of marriage is that, huh?" She didn't say anything, just got up and walked out. Sitting there, all quiet, it hit me. This wasn't just a fight. This was a huge turning point. No matter what happened next, everything was changed forever. After that ultimatum from Jenna, the next day was a total blur. My head was spinning. Work was impossible. All I could do was replay that fight with Jenna over and over in my head. Something had to give, I knew that, but I was totally lost. Should I try harder to get her to see my side? Could we find some middle ground? Or was this whole thing just a disaster waiting to happen? Then Olivia popped into my head, my lawyer, but more than that, a real friend who'd been through the ringer herself. If anyone could give me some decent advice, it was her. I called her up, told her I needed to talk, and she didn't even blink. "Come to my office this afternoon," she said. "We'll sort this out." Olivia was all smiles when I walked in, handing me a coffee. "Okay, Aaron, spill it. What's eating you?" I slumped into a chair, groaning. I laid it all out for her: Jenna's crazy demand, the guilt trips, her mom's phone call, and finally the ultimatum. Her smile disappeared as I talked, replaced by this total disbelief. When I finished, she leaned back, arms folded. "Wow," she said, "that's a whole lot of crazy." "Tell me about it," I mumbled. "Let me get this straight," she said. "Your fiancé is demanding a piece of your company as a wedding present." "Yep," I said, nodding, "and she threatened to call the whole thing off if I don't." Olivia whistled low. "Aaron, this is a huge flashing red light, a giant waving in your face red flag. Run." "I know," I said, "but what am I supposed to do? I love her, but this feels like a line I can't cross." Olivia said firmly, "You're absolutely right. You can't go there, not just for you, but for the sake of your business, you know. If you start handing out shares now, it's a whole can of worms, legally and financially." I asked, already feeling a knot of worry. "Like what exactly?" her colleague said. "If you give shares to her parents, they own those shares, plain and simple. Anything goes sideways, like what if they want more say or sell them off to somebody else? You're screwed, you lose control of that part of your company. And if you and Jenna get hitched, it becomes even more complicated. Those shares could be seen as marital property, and that means they could be up for grabs if you split up." I got this awful feeling in my gut. So basically, this could totally backfire on me? "Exactly," Olivia said. "And let's be honest. If Jenna's asking for this now, what's to stop her from wanting even more later on?" I just stared at my coffee, not saying a word. Olivia was right, I knew she was. This wasn't a one-off thing. It gave me a sneak peek at a future I really wasn't interested in living. Finally, I asked, "So what should I do?" Olivia leaned in, looking really serious. "You gotta protect yourself first and foremost. Make sure your business is legally ironclad. Update your operating agreement to say you have to approve any share transfers. And if you haven't already, keep your personal money separate from the business. Keep everything clean and separate." "Okay," I said. "My business money's always been totally separate." "Good," Olivia said. "Now about Jenna, you gotta be straight with her. No more maybe or we'll see stuff. Tell her point blank it ain't happening, no ifs, ands, or buts." She kind of trailed off there. I knew what she meant. "Yeah," I mumbled. "Looks like I might have to break things off." Olivia just nodded, looking all sympathetic. "I know it sucks, Aaron," she said, "but you gotta think about what's best for you in the long run. A good relationship shouldn't be all about demands and games." That night, I got home feeling stronger than I had in ages. Olivia's words kept echoing in my head. Ultimatums. No way, that's not a healthy relationship. Jenna was sprawled on the couch, glued to her phone like nothing was wrong. I dropped my bag and stood in front of her. "We need to talk," I said. She looked up, all suspicious. "About what?" she asked. "About the business, about your parents, about this whole mess," I told her. Jenna let out this huge sigh like she was already over it. "Aaron, we've been over this. I don't get why you're making such a big deal." "Because it is a big deal," I said, "and you need to understand this isn't happening. I'm not giving your parents a piece of my company, period." Her eyes got real narrow. So that's it, you've decided and I just gotta take it. Yes, I said, making sure she heard me. You do. This isn't about love, family, or even respect, you know. It's about you and your folks trying to grab something that's not yours. Jenna jumped up, her face all red with anger. How dare you, she practically yelled. My parents have always been there for us, and this is how you repay them, by being selfish and greedy. Selfish and greedy, I shouted back, my voice getting louder. Jenna, I've bent over backwards to make your parents feel like they're part of things. But giving them a piece of my business, that's not inclusion, that's just them feeling entitled. She crossed her arms and gave me the stink eye. Fine, she said. If you're gonna be such a selfish jerk, maybe we shouldn't get married. It felt like a huge challenge hanging in the air, but I wasn't gonna fall for it. I looked her right in the eyes and said, that's exactly what I've already decided. She just stared, totally shocked. She clearly didn't think I'd actually stick to my guns. The next morning, I called Olivia and told her the whole thing. You did the right thing, she said, but get ready for a whole lot more drama. If Jenna's this entitled now, she's not going to give up easily. Olivia was right. Jenna spent the next 3 days trying to convince me I was this horrible person, cold, unloving, ungrateful, the whole 9 yards. She even tried to get some of our friends on her side, but thankfully most of them saw through her crap. By the end of the week, I knew one thing: this was over. There was no fixing this relationship. Jenna had shown me her true colors, and I couldn't ignore it anymore. So when we finally sat down to talk again, I was done playing nice. I'd been through the ringer, confused, frustrated, totally let down, and I'd reached my limit. She thought she could steamroll me, you know? Like her guilt trips, her manipulations, her threats would just break me. But she got one thing wrong about me: I don't back down from pressure. It started out normal enough. Jenna was strangely quiet all day, which set off my alarm bells. Usually she's texting me constantly, sending links to, like, ridiculously expensive wedding stuff or complaining about some tiny thing. This time, though, radio silence. I figured she was prepping for round 2 of Let's Get Aaron to give up his company. Right after dinner, she hits me with, so, thought about what we talked about. I put down my fork and looked her right in the eye. Jenna, I said, I don't need to think about it anymore. My answer's no, it's not happening. She crossed her arms, her face hardening. You're acting like I asked for the whole company. It's just a small piece, a little something. You're making a huge deal out of nothing. Because it is a huge deal, I shot back. If I give up any shares, I lose control of that part of the business. Your parents could sell their piece, interfere with everything, or even worse. So, like, if we get hitched, all my company's stock could get dragged into a messy divorce. It's not just about the money growing, you know. It's about protecting what I've busted my butt for. Her mouth tightened. If you're so scared about your precious business, maybe marriage isn't such a great idea. The air just went thick, heavy with tension. We just stared at each other for a minute. It was crazy. Then I said, real calm but firm, you know what, Jenna? Maybe you're right. Maybe we shouldn't get married. She glared, her chest heaving, trying to find the words. Finally, she screamed, you'll regret this. My parents will think you're a greedy jerk, and so will everyone else. I just kind of laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. Go ahead, tell them, tell the whole world. I ain't hiding anything. But don't forget, I've got proof. Every text, every conversation, every little attempt to manipulate me. You really want to play this game? Her face went white, and for the first time, she looked genuinely freaked out. You recorded me, I said. I didn't plan on it, but after your mom's little call, I figured I needed to protect myself. Yeah, I've got the evidence, and if you try to twist things around, I'll make sure everyone knows the truth. She started to say something, but stopped. She could see she was backed into a corner. She didn't say a word, just grabbed her bag and stormed out. The next few days were totally chaotic. Jenna kept calling me, swinging between exploding with rage and sounding like a total wreck. At first, I blew her off, but then I picked up the phone, figuring I should just listen to her. Aaron, she said, her voice all scratchy, I'm sorry. She went on, my parents were really on my case. She said they were bugging her to make sure our marriage was okay, and I guess it got to me. That's no excuse, Jenna, I told her, keeping it real. You didn't just get pushed, you tried to push me, you didn't care how I felt, and you didn't think about what you were doing. I know, she sniffled. But I didn't want to hurt you, I love you, I just wanted to make my family happy. If you loved me, I said, my voice serious, you wouldn't try to trick me into doing something that ruins everything I've worked for. Love isn't about making me give up my dreams to make your parents happy. She started bawling again, but I didn't stay on the line. I hung up and blocked her number. After that, Jenna pulled out all the stops. She called my parents, all our friends, and even some people I worked with, trying to make me look like the bad guy. Jenna's folks were the ones who started the whole mess, it turned out. They were, not surprisingly, furious. Jenna was blocked on my phone, but her folks still found a way to reach me. Her mom called first. Honestly, she could have charmed the pants off anyone with the way she talked. "Aaron, hi," she said, all sweet and friendly. "Just wanted to chat and make sure we're all on the same page." I wasn't about to play nice. "There's no misunderstanding, Mrs. Carter. Jenna tried to strong-arm me into giving you and your husband a piece of my business, and when I refused, she threatened to call off the engagement. It's plain as day." There was a pause, and then, well, maybe she just didn't explain things right. You know how she gets, so fired up. "She was just trying to involve us because we care about your future and hers." I almost choked. "Mrs. Carter, with all due respect, this isn't about passion or care. I'm not giving away what I worked my butt off for, and I won't be pushed around." Her voice turned icy. "I think you're being very stubborn. Family is about give and take. If you can't grasp that, maybe Jenna was right to rethink this whole thing." "Maybe she was," I said, cool as a cucumber. "Goodbye, Mrs. Carter." I hung up before she could get another word in and then blocked her too. The next round came from friends. Jenna started blabbing her side of the story to anyone who would listen right away. So Jenna painted me as this total control freak, said I didn't respect my family, and even claimed I was hoarding all the money like I owed everyone a piece of the pie. It wasn't long before some friends started reaching out, wanting my side of things. Emily texted, all worried. She was like, "Aaron, I heard this stuff from Jenna, and I just need to know what's really going on. Did you really call off the wedding because she wanted her parents involved in your business?" Man, I was exhausted. I just shot her a text back. The short story. Jenna demanded I give her parents a share of my company as a wedding present. When I said no, she threatened to call it off. No way was I letting myself get pushed around like that, so I dumped her. I've got proof if you want to see it. To her credit, Emily got back to me right away. She was like, "Wow, that's totally different from what I heard. Thanks for setting me straight. I'm so sorry you're going through this." That was pretty much everyone's reaction. They'd hear Jenna's twisted version, but after I told them my story and maybe showed them a screenshot or two, they got it. A few stayed neutral, whatever, but most people were on my side. And Jenna? She was losing friends fast. Then came the third act after her little campaign to turn everyone against me flopped. She switched gears. Suddenly, my inbox and voicemail were blowing up with apologies and all these sob stories. One message started, "Aaron, I'm so sorry." This woman's voice was all shaky, like she was about to cry. "I let my mom and dad mess with my head, and I pushed her way too hard. I wish we could just sit down and talk. God, I love her, and the thought of losing her kills me. But that voicemail, I deleted it without a word. Love, seriously." I felt like she was trying to play me to weasel her way into a piece of my business. If that's what love is, I wanted no part of it. Then a few days later, another email popped up, and this one was even more frantic. "Aaron, please," it said. "I screwed up. I was freaking out under a ton of pressure, and I wasn't thinking clearly.